Folks, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, I'm Simone. I make lifestyle videos, vlogs, and sometimes I make videos about dogs. But today's video is all about the money. Money is so freaking important. Oftentimes, it determines the quality of your life, so that's why it's so important to not only know how to earn money, but how to manage money. This is going to be one of the first videos in my Defining Decade series. If you've read the book, The Defining Decade by Dr. Meg Jay, you know that your 20s is such a foundational year, and money is a huge part of that. So if you're watching this video, you probably want to know how I was able to save $15,000 in 1 year. Or you probably just want to learn how to save, period. Okay, so let's get started. So in order to create anything, you're gonna need some tools. Beyond the obvious budget, there are a few things that actually helped me along my way in saving such a large amount of money in such a short period of time. Number one, you're gonna need a job or some consistent form of income. Two, you're gonna need to learn discipline or the practice of training your brain to follow a certain rule. I learned self-discipline from the book No Excuses by Brian Tracy. That book is life-changing. If you want to learn discipline, I definitely recommend that book. Next, you're gonna need something to motivate you. I like listening to podcasts that relate to my goals. So one of the coolest podcasts I found was She Makes Money Moves. Do whatever works for you in terms of what may motivate you. But for me, it's like surrounding myself with positive things that relate to my goal. Next, you're gonna need a why or a goal. Maybe you want to save for a house. Maybe you want to save for your emergency fund. Maybe you want to save for your kids. Maybe you want to buy a dog. It doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but it has to be a reason big enough and important enough for you to make you want to prioritize saving above many other things. And last but not least, you're gonna need some sort of Cash App card or some sort of reloadable prepaid debit card, and I'll get into why you need that a little later. So we'll get into the purpose of those tools in a second, but all of those tools aided me in not only meeting, but exceeding my savings goals. You can add or subtract whatever works for you, but I suggest you at least have your why or goal and a consistent form of income. So based on your why or your goal and your income, you would then break down the amount of money you need per month to reach your goal in a set amount of time. So maybe that may be $200 a month for 18 months or $30 a week for 26 weeks. Okay, first things first, you are gonna need a budget, and that budget needs to show how much you're bringing in per month and how many expenses you incur each month. I can make an in-depth video on how I created and managed my budget. Let me know if you want that in the comments down below. But in the meantime, let me show you a sample budget. Okay, first, let's give it up for Google Docs. It's free, cloud-based, autosave. Like, I could really go on and on, but every once in a while I'm like, wow. Okay, but anyways, head over to your Google Drive, click New, Google Sheets, from a template. Okay, one more thing about Google Docs. They have so many amazing templates, and we'll use the monthly budget template. I really like this monthly budget template because it's extremely interactive and the formulas are set for auto-populate, so you don't have to do too much math on your own, which I love because I literally hate math. This plan lets you closely monitor your planned and actual income and expenses per month. Expenses are to your left and income is to your right. I'll come back to the summary tab in a moment. All right, this second tab is the transactions tab. At the end of the month, you'll populate this sheet with your actual transaction amounts. Now, here comes the fun part, the expense outline. All right, this tab is where it gets real. I click the plus sign to add a new tab and name it expense outline. This is where you will outline each and every one of your expenses by category. This can be humbling, so beware. It's important to know where each and every penny of the money you worked so hard for is going. It's a peace of mind you didn't even know you needed until you have it. This is also time to take a deep, long look at the expenses you're incurring and ask yourself if you could cut down or even eliminate personal expenses. So if you haven't already, take some time to go through your bank statements to figure out your fixed or recurring charges each month. I used the categories housing, utilities, transportation, health and medical, food and groceries, pets, guilt-free spending, and debt. All of those categories are pretty self-explanatory, but I want to talk a little bit more about guilt-free spending. Guilt-free spending is the money that you put aside to buy the things that you love. Shoes, clothes, sushi, weird things. It doesn't matter. I love the way guilt-free spending is discussed in the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, because in the past, my budget was so strict. It was like bills, whatever, all the serious things. But now I know like I can spend this money and not feel bad. Are you mad that I have a budget? She's jealous that she doesn't have a budget. So this is also where your Cash App or reloadable debit card comes in. So every month you'll load your guilt-free spending amount to your card, and once you spend that money, it's gone. This is way better than just relying on good faith that you won't overspend from your regular checking account. Some people like to do this in cash. They'll go to the ATM, pull out the exact amount of cash they need for their guilt-free spending so that they can't overspend and you can actually see how much money you have left. But I prefer a card. Like, it's 2021 and it's COVID. Like, come on. Let's also talk about debt. Debt is normal, but debt isn't good. So I read online that as of November 2020, it's reported that the average American holds about $92,000 in debt, whether it be a home mortgage, credit card debt, student loans, whatever. That is a lot of debt. It's also really hard to focus on saving if a large amount of your income is going towards paying off debt. If this sounds like you, I suggest listening to Dave Ramsey. He has the Dave Ramsey Show on YouTube, the Dave Ramsey Podcast. He has actionable steps on eliminating debt. I suggest that if you do have a lot of debt, you focus on paying that down because it's going to be hard to focus on saving large amounts of money. All right, so take a look here in my sample fiction budget. I have $960 worth of debt as an expense this month. That's $960 that I cannot save or allocate to another expense category. So if this is you, I suggest coming back to this video when you are almost or completely debt-free. All right, income, super important. Let's say in order to reach your proposed savings goal based on your newly created expense sheet, you are unable to do that. Well, you need to increase your income. That can mean figuring out how to earn a raise at work, and or you can pick up a second job, and you can sell things around the house that you don't use anymore. I worked 2 jobs at the start of my savings journey. I worked my 9 to 5, and then on weekends, I would shuck oysters. I know, weird, but don't knock it till you try it. I sold half of my closet to my friends in consignment shops. I sold things around the house that I didn't use anymore on Mercari and OfferUp. Be creative, do what you have to do to reach your goals. Oh, and I also cut back on some of my expenses. Okay, now that you're saving, you have some motivation, you understand how much money is coming in and going out, you're probably wondering, okay, what's next? Now you need to make sure you're actually saving. The easiest way to save is to automate. Say it with me. Automate. Automate. If you know you need to save $500 a month, set up that auto transfer for $250 bi-weekly. Boom, end of the month, your money is there. You don't even have to think about it. Also, there are other avenues to save when it comes to automation. If this is an offering from your place of work, talk to HR to figure out how to set up your 401k. This will automatically come out of your paycheck through payroll deduction. The company you work for may even match your 401k contribution. My 401k contributes to a large amount of my savings, and your contribution may reduce your current taxable income. Okay, you have your why, you're motivated, you understand your budget, and you're ready to automate. But where? I suggest opening a separate bank account for each of your savings goals. That's a super organized way to see your progress in all of your balances. So if you want to save for your emergency fund, you need to have an emergency savings account. If you want to save for a trip, have a travel savings account. Like, you get the picture. Different savings account for different goals. A simple search on Google or NerdWallet will help you in finding a new bank account. Be sure to pay attention to minimum deposits, monthly and annual fees, annual percentage yield or APY before opening that account. So right now, some of the best savings accounts in my opinion are Discover Bank, Ally, and Capital One. They have no minimum deposits, so you can start from scratch. They're FDIC insured. They have a really good APY right now. I use Charles Schwab and Vanguard for my savings, but research what bank is right for you. All right, so here are some tips I have to ensure that you reach your savings goal. First, start small. Try just saving $20 a month. See where that gets you. 2, learn to sacrifice. It sucks, but in order to get to where you need to be, you're gonna have to sacrifice. Tell Bae you can't go on that vacation. Tell your girl you can't meet her for sushi. You can't buy that dress that you really don't need. I know, it sucks. And lastly, give yourself some grace. Saving isn't easy and sometimes it is not fun, but this is something necessary for the betterment of your future. You can and you will be able to reach your savings goals no matter how big or small. I am here to help. I hope that everything I spoke on today was beneficial to you. If you have any additional questions, let me know in the comments. I am here to help. You got this. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.